Alright everyone, welcome to the first video for app development at NGHE. Our first project is going to be a Star Wars themed Asteroids game that we are going to output to HTML5 to be used on the web, on a web page. So let's get started. One of the things you're going to need to do is to first download the source files that we're going to be using. You will find the link to the files in the YouTube description below. Download those and save to your desktop. You'll see it is called NGHE Star Wars Asteroids. If you open that up, you're going to find a folder for audio and for images. And if you look in each of those, we have a number of files for use in our project. Let's get started by opening up Gamesalad. Once you have that open, sometimes an old project might be open, so what we're going to do is press File, New. Would you like to save your changes first? If you want to save them, great. But in our instance right now, we're not going to save it. Don't save. You get this prompt saying Create New Project with a title and platform. The title, let's call this Star Wars Asteroids. All one word. The platform we're going to use, if you look at this, these are all the choices and options we have for output in our final app or game, anywhere from iPhone to iPad to MacBook. Let's do Gamesalad Arcade, and that ensures that we are going to get output format of HTML5 usable in web pages. So Gamesalad Arcade, create project. And there we go. Let's go to the next section, which is to, well, before we do that, let me introduce you to the work area, work area for Gamesalad. This is in PC. On the left-hand side, you've got the library. And under the library, you've got 6 tabs. The first one is Scenes. Then we've got the Layers. We've got our Actors, our Media, our Behaviors. Behaviors are how our actors behave, essentially, within a scene, within our programming. So I'll show you a little bit more of that in the programming that we have today. And finally, the tab for tables. The bottom left-hand section is the attributes section. It's got 3 tabs, one for the game, one for the scene, and one for the actors. Let's bring in and import our files, both sound and graphic files. We're going to press the 4th tab up in the top library, and we're going to click the button that says Add Images and Audio. And on our desktop, remember we've got that folder, double click that. Let's bring in the images first, double click, and you'll notice that we have 11 different files. Highlight those all and press Open. What that'll do is import all the files that we have and need for this project. If we click the Add button to add more media files into this folder, it will give us this Select Media window. We're going to go back one step up to Audio, and we'll have 6 different files. Highlight those, click Open, and you'll notice that if you scroll down, we've got 6 audio files, and you could even preview those by pressing the play button on the left-hand side. And of course they have the little sound preview for you. Alright, let's go to the next section. Okay, what we're going to do is set up the attributes for our game. Let's go down to the bottom. Attributes in the game. And attributes are certain qualities we want in the game, and we can add a number of them. And so how we add one, again, we're in the lower left-hand column, Attributes, Game. We're going to press the plus sign to add an integer attribute. We're going to add about 5 or 6 of these. So it gives you the opportunity to rename that. And we're going to rename that score. Let's press the plus sign again, the add. The second one we're going to add in is also an integer attribute called lives. Let's add another one, another integer, and this one is called asteroid count. And our final one, let's press the add button, but this time we're going to select Boolean. And we're going to rename that player dead. Okay. These are all attributes that we will refer to in our programming during the game to let us know what the score is, how many lives are, the asteroid count, and finally when the player has died. Let's go to the next section. What we're going to do is set up a couple of tags. Tags are used to refer to an actor of a certain quality. In this instance, we're going to tag all our actors being either a good actor or a bad actor. So the good actor, we're going to have our spaceship, our X-Wing fighter, and also the bullet or the laser that we are shooting from our ship to destroy the asteroids. Those are good. Everything else, with the exception of the background, is going to be bad. So that's essentially the asteroids, the enemy spaceship, and the enemy laser. Those are all going to be bad. So rather than referring to any one asteroid or the spaceship, if we needed to refer a group of asteroids, then all we have to do is say bad, all the ones that are bad. It's very similar to tagging your photos. If you have one of those new types of photo software programs where you could tag all the pictures that your baby brother is in, you find all those pictures, tag it saying baby brother, and then later on you could search baby brother and it'll bring up all the photos of your brother. So very similar to that. Let's go to the Actors tab, which is the library, top section, third tab in. We're going to click on the tab button and you'll see all and new tag appear. Let's double click on new tag, and we're going to rename that. And we're going to rename that good. Oops. Good. Let's click on for a new tag. Double click that, rename that bad. And that's it. That's all we need to do for that section. Let's get started on the next. Going to do is to bring in our first actor. After we've made all the tags, let us press the add button, the plus sign, actor 1, and once you highlight that, click on that, highlight that, you'll notice that down at the bottom the attributes changes to actor, and we have a number of things that we need to change with that actor. So the first actor we're going to use is, let's go down here to image, and we want Starfield, and that is the background we're going to input. The first thing you're going to want to do is double click the name and rename it to the exact name that it says here in the image. So Starfield, F-I-E-L-D. Okay. No need for size or position changes. What we are going to do, we're going to take that and then drag that into our work area. And we're going to resize it on our stage. This area on the right hand side is called the stage, and anything that happens within this outside frame line is within that line we're going to see what's happening in our game. So we put in the background, and what's great is all along the progress of you programming this game or any other game or any other app, you can stop and press this green button, and that is a quick preview of what you're working on. So you can test to make sure that what you programmed is working correctly. So if we click this now, it's going to bring us into a preview mode, which says, hey, look, that's our background, and that's exactly what it's going to look like in our game. So click back to editor. Okay, we've got our Starfield under there. Let's bring our next one in, our next actor. So we're going to press the plus sign, and let's highlight actor 1. Okay, first thing we're going to do is select the image that we want, and that's going to be player. Like before, what we want to do is rename our actor to match what the image file name is. So we're going to rename that player. Time we don't need to change, position we don't need to change. Size we will. You notice it says 120 by 120. Let's change that to 25 by 25, and you'll notice that once we drag that in, I think that's everything we're going to need for this. Once we drag that in, to our game, oops, once we drag that into our game, you're going to notice it's teeny tiny. And actually, we want it a little bit smaller to show that once we get the asteroids in, our ship is very tiny in comparison to the asteroids. So it's nice to have it a little bit smaller than all the other actors within the stage. All right, fantastic. Let's press the play green button, and it's going to preview what we've got so far. Fantastic. Looking good so far. Let's go back to the editor. Let's set up some controls to give our X-Wing fighter some flight. Let's delete that off our stage right now. Let's go back to the Actor tab in the library, and we're going to press Player, highlight that. Now we're going to create some rules that this actor has to play by. So what we're going to do is give it some motion, some flight. So one of the things we're going to do first is create a rule. Okay. Create the rule when all of the following are happening. So what we want to do is highlight in this box is that when what we want to do is be able to control our X-Wing fighter by using the arrow buttons. So each of the buttons has to have a certain command we have to program in. So the first one is we're going to want it to turn to the right, and we're going to use the right arrow key. So we create a rule that when all of the following are happening, you're going to type in key, and you'll notice that a capitalized key is suggested, so we're going to press enter. And then it says, once you do that, this is automatically added in. Receives a key press, we're going to highlight within that, and what it wants us to do is to press the key that we want initiated in this part of the programming. So we want it to turn right by pressing the right button. So once we select inside the box and then press the right arrow key, you'll notice that it says right. And then so receives a key press, right arrow key is down. Then we say what we want it to do. So we go under do, and then we want it to rotate. So let's type in rotate, R-O-T-A-T-E, and you'll notice 3 suggestions popping up. We want the first one, rotate. Okay. It says rotate in a counterclockwise direction. We know that when we turn to the right, it's actually clockwise. So let's change that to clockwise. At a speed of 90. Okay, that'll work out fine. Sometimes I like to put it at 100. I find that 90 is sometimes a little bit slow. Okay, so that's one rule we have completed. So let's see if that works. If we, let's see. If we bring that into our game, okay, and then press the preview button, we'll see our X-Wing fighter in there, and if we press right, it should turn right. Look at that. You've done your first bit of programming. Great job. Let's exit out of here, back to editor. And once that is solidified, let's do a save. File, save as, And Star Wars Asteroids, save as game type Gamesalad. Let's save this to the desktop for now. So our desktop, under the folder that we had earlier with the audio files and the graphics files. So let's do Star Wars Asteroids. And let's save it in there. Save. All right. There's a rule A, B, S. A, always, B, B, S, saving. Always be saving. So it keeps you from losing any work that you've done. I know for many people you might be working on a document, typing for hours, and then all of a sudden the computer glitches out, and then you've lost all that work and you can't recover it because the computer shut down, the program logged out, and all of a sudden you're with nothing. So what we want to do is to ensure that that doesn't happen. Press File, Save As, and then save it to your folder. And then we're going to continually save it during our process, during our progress. So let's go back here. And let's remove our instance of that. Okay. So actually what we're going to do is, you'll notice in the backstage, there is player prototype and player instance. So we've been working on instance, so let's click the lock here. And you'll notice that we have all our programming here. And we're going to continue using this one. So, okay. What we're going to do, what we've done, is highlighted that X-Wing and erased it from our stage. We're going to highlight the actor on the left-hand side, continuing the process of programming. And player prototype, we've added a new rule here when all of the following are happening. So we're going to have this this we wanted to say key. Okay, key receives a key press of left, right? Correct? So we're going to put our cursor in the box and then press the left arrow key, and you'll see it comes up left. Receives a key press of the left button when that's down. And we want it to do, let's go under do, highlight in there, and we're going to want it to rotate. Start typing that in, and it brings up rotate. And this one is correct. Rotate, when we go left, it's in a counterclockwise direction at a speed of, let's match it with the other one, 100. And that's that. Let's rename this rule rotate left. All right, let's create our third rule. Not only does it go left, not only does it go right, but it should go forward also. So let's create a new rule. We're going to call this forward when all of the following are happening. Let's type in key. So forward propulsion means when is done when we press the up key. So let's highlight here, and then we're going to press the up key. Receives a key press. The up key is pressed down. What's going to happen? We're going to go under do, and we're going to put our behavior in there. we want it to accelerate. Accelerate means to move forward, get faster. So ACC, and you'll notice it says accelerate, accelerate toward. We want it to accelerate. Accelerate in direction. And you'll notice that a number of times during our programming, it's going to ask us in what direction you want it to move. Here's a simple way to look at this. Just imagine that a clock has the numbers from starting at the top, 12 o'clock, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, all the way to the right, 4, 5, 6, down at the bottom, 7, 8, 9 to the left, and then back up to 12. Well, in this programming, the directions match up to be that when you're at 9 o'clock, when you're pointing towards, when you're wanting to go to the left, that's 0 degrees. When you want it to go 90 degrees, that's at the 12 o'clock marking, going straight up. If you want to go to the left, that's 180. If you want to go down, that's 270 degrees. And then back at 0 all the way to the left at 9 o'clock. So we want our, if you look at the X-Wing fighter, we want our X-Wing fighter to accelerate in a forward direction. If we look at it like this, we want it to go 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock equals 90 degrees. So let's put in 90 here in the accelerate in which direction, relative to the actor. Okay. Looks good. And also when we want it to accelerate forward, we also want it to play a sound for it to give it a little bit more drama and emphasis. So what we're going to type in is play, and then you'll notice it automatically populates it with play music or play sound. We want it to play a sound. And we're going to use one of the sounds we imported, play sound, and the one we want is thrust short. We want it to loop, and I think that's that. So if we look at this, we've done rotate right, rotate left. When we go forward, we're going to press the up key, accelerating at 90 degrees or straight up relative to the actor with an acceleration speed of 100. Not only will it accelerate, but it'll play a sound. And what we're going to do, let's minimize all this and let's test it out. So let's press File, Save. Let's save it first. Project saved, which is always a good thing. Okay, let's take our player, let's drag it over here. Okay. And let's press the green button. Looks great. Let's test it with all the programming that we've done. Turning right, turning left, and moving forward. So let's turn right by pressing the right key. Look at that. Let's go left by pressing the left key. And let's move forward. So when we move forward, it should be moving forward, and we should hear a sound with that. Uh-oh. Look, it disappeared and never came back. Once we've noticed that the X-Wing fighter, when we're in preview, goes off the screen, what we need to do is make it change so it looks like this, where it flies off screen and then back on automatically. Let's go back to editor, and what you want to do is go to scene, and under scene you want to wrap X, select that, wrap Y, so that once you press preview, the X-Wing fighter flies off screen and then back onto the screen where we don't lose him. Okay, let's go to the next section. Alright, so what we want to do next is create some fire for our X-Wing fighter, and what we want to do is use the particle behavior. Particles are little bits of graphic that we're going to use to emulate the thrust of the engines in the X-Wing. So what we want to do is, let's go back to our X-Wing player we have over here. Okay, let's work on the prototype. Rotate right, rotate left, and forward. And actually, let's get rid of this player instance. Might confuse things. So you're going to select your X-Wing fighter, press delete, and that will get rid of that. So under player prototype, we've got rotate right, left, forward. We're going to create another rule. All right. Let's get rid of that. My bad. When we move it forward, we want it to accelerate, play sound, and then the other behavior we want it to create is particle, P-A-R-T-I-C-L-E-S. You see that auto-populate? Let's highlight that and enter. We're going to do two different kinds of particles to give it a little bit of variety. The first one, we want a spawn rate of 20 particles with a startup time of 1 second and then a lifetime of 0.75. We're going to have the velocity and speed. The emitter is offset. What we want for this, if you look at the left-hand side of the actor, we want it to shoot off the bottom where the thrust flames would come from. So that's, remember I said 9 o'clock is 0, 12 o'clock is 90, 3 o'clock is 180, and then down at the bottom is 270. So we want it to come out at 270 degrees. So let's change that to 270. Oops. We don't want it offset, I'm sorry, in the direction 270 at a speed of 200. Want that a little bit faster. We want it at a size of, let's say, 4. Well, actually, since it's a little bit smaller, let's try 2. And we want it to change size. We want it to change to 1. Or actually, we can even do 0.5. And that's over 0.5 seconds. Let's choose the color tab, and we want this a nice, bright red. Okay, we choose the color red, and then we're going to bring this slider down. This is the opacity, and we want it to be about halfway, so it's somewhat translucent. Okay. Let's X out of that. And the color does not change. The blending mode is what's called additive. And additive is when we add that second color. What that means is when it crosses over another color, it's going to mix the colors together. So actually we get an orange in there, which is really nice. The next thing we want to do is rotation, which is the initial rotation is 45 degrees. Okay. Now let's minimize that, and let's add in a second particles, P-A-R-T-I-C-L-E-S. Highlight that. We want it to be 20 particles with a startup time of 1, lifetime of 0.75. Velocity, remember, in the direction of 270 relative to the actor at a speed of 200. We want its size to be 2. Size changes. This time, let's make that just go down to 1 over 0.5 seconds. Okay. This color is going to be yellow, so let's get that yellow in there. And we're going to have its opacity at about half. Okay. So that is, I don't like that one. Looks a little red. Okay, that's okay. And the color does not change, and it too is additive. And this one, we're not going to change the rotation. So once we do that, let's minimize. And let's press save. Save. Make sure we save it. Alright, what we want to do after we've made those changes to the particles is test it out. Let's highlight in the library our actor player. Let's drag that onto the side. Once it appears, then we'll grab that middle circle and drag that onto our stage. Once we do that, let's press preview. Let's make it turn right, turn left, and then let's make it go forward. Not bad. Not bad. We can actually have those particles be a little bit bigger. So what we want to do, let's highlight that, is we want particles, let's start them off a little bit bigger. So we want the size to be, let's say 5. Change both of those to 5. Okay. Press save. Let's preview that. Oh yeah. A lot better. Alright, the final thing we want to do is to set up our bullet and its behaviors. So what we want to do is, let's add in a new actor up in the Actors tab, the third tab up in the library. Hang on real quick, let me get rid of some of these that appeared. We want to press, oops. I'll clean that up in just a second. I want to press add and select actor 1. With actor 1, we're going to go down here to the bottom and select image, and this one is going to be bullet. And that's what we want it to be. Position and size. Let's check out the size. It says 120 here. We don't want it that big. We want it to be 6 and 6. Okay. Oops. There we go. And that's pretty much it. What we want to do, don't forget to rename that the same name as the image, bullet. Okay. Alright, once we do that, let's add some rules to this. Um, Actually, let me show you something different. Let's highlight this. We're going to delete that. You'll notice up in the library, up at the top, remember, there's scenes, layers, actors, media files, and then this last one is, or the second to last one is behaviors. This one is a great way for us to add in these behaviors, if I can. I can just get to them. Okay. You'll notice that there are a bunch of behaviors, actions, conditions, and sometimes you can't remember them all. So what we can do is go all the way up here to behaviors and just drag them over, which is really nice. So what we want to do, let's go back to the bullet, and that's still selected as the actor down here. What we want to do is drag move. Everything is in alphabetical order. So once we find move, we want to drag that over to the right hand staging area, the backstage area. And we're going to insert a timer with this. So on the right hand side, say add timer. So okay, let's change this to after 0.5 after 0.5 seconds, we want that bullet to be destroyed. So click on destroy over here on the left hand side, drag that in. So we have a bullet that moves 90 degrees relative to our actor. That means it's going to go shooting out the top at a speed of 300. And then once it's shot, after 0.5 seconds, we want it to be destroyed. Okay? And that's that. Let's press File, Save. All right. Okay, let's go back to our actors, and we're going to go to Player, our X-Wing fighter, and we're going to create, I think, our final rule here. Okay. And let's scroll just so we can see all of it. When all of the following are happening. So what we want is to program our X-Wing to shoot. How do we do that? What actions do we need to take? Usually in a 2D game like this, shooting is initiated by the space bar. So that is a key, so we're going to type in key, and you see that becomes highlighted. Let's press that. It receives a key press of our space bar. Let's press the space bar to fill that in. When that's down, now what do we want to have happen? When the space bar is down, we want our graphic to be spawned. Okay? So we want, well, first we want it to play a sound. Play sound. So you type in play, and you get these two choices. We want it to play a sound, and then in the drag down, the pull down, we want player shot 2. And then the other thing we want is that graphic of the bullet to be spawned. We want it to spawn. Okay, so let's make a little bit more room. Grab the pull down, spawn actor bullet being placed in front of the actor. in the direction of 90 degrees relative to the actor. And that should be that. Let's save, file save. Okay. Let's press preview. And then from this, if we press space, oop, I think I did 190 degree too much. Okay, so let's leave that 0. Let's see what the changes need to be here. Save. And green button. Okay, press the space bar. There we go. Excellent. Let's go back to the editor. And here I lost my star field, so I'm going to drag that back over. And let's make a little bit more room here. Okay. When we have a graphic like this, we want to send it to the back. Okay, file, save, always be saving, ABS. And let's preview it one last time. I think once we get that graphic in there, it looks pretty cool. Really cool. Fantastic. All right.